Hello citizens, Councillor Gian-Carlo, Ward 9 TV. This is a just brief overview of the unfortunate budget cuts that Council presided over yesterday, July 23rd. One of the most maddening things about the Council meeting we just went through that stretched from the 22nd to the 23rd is that on the 22nd we talked about spending $275 million of city savings to partner with the Calgary Flames to build an event center, and this is an active conversation about whether this is a deal that we want to enter into. In the very same meeting, we oversaw and approved an unprecedented, in my time on council, series of budget cuts, and there's a lot of cognitive dissonance about how we could be doing both things at the same time. The backstory, of course, is that the downtown core, since the downturn, has lost a ridiculous amount of value, $14 billion of value lost in only 127 properties. And what we've learned is that those 127 downtown skyscrapers were deeply subsidizing the annual operating budget of the city of Calgary. Now, over the last several years, as we've responded to the downturn by becoming more and more efficient as a city government, we've driven the cost of government down, and we've realized savings between the taxes we've collected and the budget that we set. And those savings we've done two things with. One, we've put it into one-time money to cover the hole that's opening up in the downtown valuation, the hole that's left from the downtown valuation. And the other thing we've done with that money is that we've put it into capital projects to build the city that we need to be and to keep Calgarians working throughout the downturn. Over the last 4 years, it's become very apparent to everybody on council, there were some early adopters, there were some laggards, that this is a structural change and that we need a structural fix. And that debate that took place this year really didn't take place soon enough. And we were at a point where we had to send out tax bills and we hadn't solved the problem. And when the tax bills went out, what happened was that about a third of our non-residential property tax rolls, largely the small business communities in Ward 9, opened up their tax bills, and they saw that the hole that had opened up in the downtown had been distributed unequally across the non-residential base, and the ones who were getting the big spikes, the big raises, were facing tax increases that simply were untenable. All of this was taking place while our residential property tax base enjoys the lowest residential property taxes in Canada. So I've been a long-time advocate that we need to put more of the responsibility onto the residents, and we have to create a system where the taxation we levy against downtown skyscrapers is not the exact same bucket of responsibility that we apply to, two-story buildings on our main streets and mom and pop shops. Council's coming around to this realization, but as I said, it's taken too much time, and we had an emergency this year where we had to find extra money, and that money had to be applied in an emergency budget cut to keep the taxes on that 1/3 of our small business, of our business rolls that were receiving way too high a spike. And so yesterday we presided over a $60 million cut. That $60 million cut on our annual budget midstream is resulting in 115 city employees being laid off and a bunch of other things like a couple of pools being closed. There's going to be much more information on that rolling out. There will be minimal impacts to frontline services, but there will be frontline services. And the conversation that we need to have moving forward is, can we build that new system that doesn't treat our small businesses the same way we treat skyscrapers and Chinook centers of this world? And number two, how much responsibility